Hello, hello. This is Sandy from Ledoux Designs. Hi, Carol. It's nice to see you, Carol. It's been a while. So we have tonight this Pajama Crafter Stamps new release of a nativity scene. I have the dies in the background, so it's a little bit more challenging to see the design. So you can definitely find it at pajamacrafterstamps.com. Hi, Diana. And I have already sort of set up the scene since I figured it would take me a while to cut all of the pieces for this because we will need to mask. Hi, Becky. So I have cut out the star and the entire scene. I have also cut out the background with an X-Acto knife. So when you use the die, it cuts the whole outside. It does not cut the background, so you could just color the background, but I want you to be able to see the background through the sky from the back of the card. So I have cut out that part of it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to color it with Copics, and then we're going to cover it with the mask, and then we're going to do an oxide background on it. I've chosen Uncharted Mariner, Squeezed Lemonade for the star, and Black Soot for the dark black background. So I've already cut those to get ready for it. And now we're going to go ahead and start coloring because that's going to be the part that's going to take us the longest to do. It's not difficult, but it looks like a lot. And so I thought it would be great to do it on a video so you guys could see how to color this. And if somebody could say hi so I can make sure the comments are coming through, that would be really great. There we go. Thank you, Cheryl. I'm good. I'm a little bit on the tired side from all the driving, but other than that, I'm doing fairly good. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and zoom in. It'll take out all the reflection and stuff that you can see right now. I'm back at my house, getting prepared to color from my own craft room, so a little bit easier for me. Because I'm more used to my own space. Sorry. Hey, Danny. Okay, so we're going to start off. I like to start off with the skin tones. Basically, the reason I did that was because that was the most challenging part for me when I first started coloring. So I figured if I messed it up, I could stop at that point. So now it's just a habit to do the skin tones first. So the little Mary and Joseph are both going to have the same color skin tone, but I want a lighter skin tone for the little baby since he's just been born. So we're going to start with these two, and then we'll work on him last. I don't want anything to dry while we're working on him, so we are going to go ahead and get started. I have my Copic holder stand right here. We're going to wet the paper with E000, and for these two guys, we're going to start with E04. We're going to go to E13, E21, and then E11, and then we'll end with E00. But before we do E00, we're going to put in some R11 for the cheeks. Now, I'm going to hold off on the eyes, but I know there are some people who want to see how to do the eyes, so we will get to that part sooner rather than, I won't wait till the end to do the eyes. So let's go ahead and get started. I think I could probably zoom in just a little bit more so you guys can really see. I don't know if you're technically using your phone or an iPad or whatever, but I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm just going to wet the paper here. And please don't be shy. If you have questions or you want to chat or whatever, feel free to do that. This is a super cute scene, and it's very Christmas. And when it's done, it's just precious. I love it. I have colored this maybe 3 times so far, so this is my 4th time, just because I liked it so much and I wanted to change up the colors. I just couldn't decide what colors I wanted to use, so I just kept coloring it over and over again. So tonight we'll do a little different than the other times that I colored it. So that's what we're gonna do. I'm also going to give them all the same color hair. This will just cut down on the number of Copics that you would need in order to color this. So I'm going to try to do that as well. Hi, Meg. Meg, I know you have a coloring class coming up soon. If you want to post a link to that is totally fine. So I'm using my E04 for my shadow area, which I want to be underneath her hair, since that is where the shadow would be. And then because she's looking down at this angle, I feel like she would have a bit of shadow on this side of her face as well. Sunday, okay. I need to mark my calendar. I knew it was coming up, and I saw your fairy, and I watched Lynn's video tonight on washi tape piecing the fairy, so I thought maybe I could color with you on Sunday. So I'm adding the shadow area to both of the images so that I can do them at the same time. It'll make it go a little bit faster. Basically, the other 2 times I colored it, I did them each one at a time. But I know that it's going to take a bit to get these done tonight, so I want to go ahead and kind of do them at the same time. So the next color that we're going to use is going to be E13. So I need to go out there and download it. So I need you to put a link in here so I can go and get included on that. Oh, E13. I just got my hair done today, so I don't have it up, but it just went in my mouth while I was talking, so sorry about that.
There's a sign up because of the digis you get.
There's a sign up because of the digis. Yes, exactly. Yep, that's what I need. Okay, so I'm extending out the first color with this second color. I want this, it's at night, so I'm going to allow it to be a little bit darker than I normally do. So, could be a lot of shadow going on here. Don't know how to do the link. I will get it from Lynn. Oh, okay. Well, you can post it as a separate post in the group whenever you have it. Just say, you know.
Just promote yourself.
Yeah, promote yourself. Hey, I'm doing a coloring class if you want to join me. Now you've had the approval, so you can post it in the group. I mean, it's always helpful for people to see other people color so they can do what works best for them. E21 is next, so I am open to you posting for someone else, for the others to join us on Sunday to watch Meg color. Okay, so I'm extending out with this E21. It's a little bit on the brownish side. It looks sunburned-ish, but when we come in with the E11 and the E00, it will soften out that color into more of a skin tone color. So if you are trying this at home, please do not give up at this point. Keep going, because I promise in the end it comes out really nice. This is my favorite Caucasian skin tone colors today. I say today because my favorite colors change a lot. Someday it's the same for a while and then it changes up and I move on to a different combination. So my favorite colors are not the same all the time. Well, that's not 100% true. I do like purple anytime, all the time. But for color combinations with Copics, I like to switch it up. You're welcome, Meg, anytime. So I'm going to build in just a little bit of a nose there. You won't be able to see it a whole lot later on, but I want to get just a little bit in there. I wouldn't do too much because then it just looks funny to put like a real nose on a not real character. So I don't do that. This is E11. This is the one that's going to tone that out just a little bit into more of a pinkish tone for skin color. So it helps a lot to bring that color to life. So I'm just extending out from where I put those other colors. We're leaving the center part white for the last color. Hello! Hey, Joy! Joy, we're waiting on you to give us some answers. I'm booking it after this live, so. So anyway, we're going to add a little bit of blush to their cheeks, but not a lot for the boy, more for the girl. Hi, Lori. So we're going to do the pink a little heavier on the girl's cheeks because we want those to show up a little bit more because she's so proud of the little one that she just had. And then we're just going to put a teeny bit because he's also super proud. But he's a boy, so he wouldn't have any blush on his cheeks. Any blush makeup-wise. Not that she probably would either, but you know, in my world, she does. So E00 is the last color, and I'm going to do that back and forth motion that I usually do for the last color just to blend those colors together. So we're just going to do it a little bit up and down here in the center, and then straight across. And it will also lighten and soften those cheeks because I don't want them to be like really blushy, if you know what I mean. So right now their skin tones look pretty dark, but that's just because there's no other color on the paper. We haven't done the hair or the background or any of that other stuff. So it's going to look very dark. But it won't be that bad when we get done. Hi, Christy. Okay, so for the baby, I wanted the baby's skin to be much softer and much lighter. This is why we didn't do them at the same time. Hi, Timothy. So I'm going to switch out my E04 for my RV95. And then I'm going to take out my E13. And I'm going to lower the number of colors to RV95, E21, E11. We'll put a little bit of rosy on the cheeks and then E00. So we're going to start out with our Wet the Paper E000 for this little guy. He's so happy. He's very happy. Hello, hello. So RV95 is a good substitution for shadow on your images when you're doing these, but it's a little bit lighter than the E04, so it tends to have a little bit less darkness on it, and it's a little bit, it has a little bit of a like a purpley tone to it compared to the E04. So I use it sometimes, but it isn't my favorite unless I'm trying to do very fresh, pale skin. And then I change from the E04 to the RV95. E21 is next. So just like with the other colors, we're just going to extend that out a bit. His little ears kind of hidden in there, so it would be more shadowed. And again, I want his skin to appear much lighter than the other two. He hasn't had enough, he hasn't had as much sun as they have yet in his life. E11 is next, so we're just going to extend a bit further. Get him just a little bit up there on his nose. Now it's time to add the R11 for the cheeks. And this one, very light, just like Dad. Really, really light. And then E00 will finish it up. So you'll be able to see how much lighter this one is than the other ones. Might not appear that way at first, but that's because the paper's wet. When it dries, it will be lighter. So you can kind of tell already a little bit, I think. All right, so normally I wait on the eyes, but I think tonight I like to wait because I like to kind of match them with the outfits and the clothes and the colors and stuff. But I think tonight we're going to go ahead and do the eyes. And since I have more of more green chosen for the outfits and such, I think I'm going to do the eyes blue with blue-green. So I will show you in 1 second the colors that I have chosen for this. So I have 3 colors here. I chose B99. It will be my darkest color. B75 will be my mid-tone, and BG72 will be the last one. I know their eyes are tiny, but you'll need it. And then G00 will be my magic color. So B99 is what I'm going to start with. And this is where I'm going to start with hers first. And this is where I'm going to put it around the outside. So I'm going to have to hold my marker upright. I hope you will be able to see it. I'm just going to put it like along the top. Like that. And then I'm going to put some of those lines in here just to show some of the striations in the eye. And she's going to look real crazy for just a little bit. That is normally how it works. Don't be nervous. It's going to look crazy when you first start out. But we're going to do his eyes very similar. So I'm going to go ahead and do his eyes at the same time. Also doing the top, but going down the opposite side. So that it will show a bit of the lighter side on the inside of each set of eyes. Hopefully that makes sense to you guys. A little bit of the striations again, just like I did before with the darkest color. Later I'll do a video with a much bigger eye, but right now these are just the little eyes. Show close up. They look a little crazy. I know. I'll show the close-up between each step so you guys can really see it. The baby's eyes will be done way different because they're too small to do all of the detail. So this is BG75, and this is where I'm going to go around the entire outside. So top, bottom, and don't be nervous. This does take a bit of practice to be able to go all the way around these tiny, tiny, tiny eyes. But the trick to it is to hold your marker upright and don't touch the paper very heavily. Like just lightly touching the paper will give you that ink all the way around the eye. So normally I'd go around the inside of the eye where the black is as well, but this is just too small of a spot for me to do that. Now they look kind of like a mess right now, but I am not worried. I know they are going to come out looking very, very nice. So this is the Ice Ocean. And when I do this step, I'm just going to kind of tap that color in there. Just tapping it around in the remaining white areas of the eye, except for this center white dot for the eyeball. the reflection dot. I'm not going to color that one in. So I'm just adding this color very gently, very slowly. Again, holding my marker pretty much upright. That one went into the white of his eye, but it doesn't really matter because we're going to use a white gel pen to bring out those whites anyway. So if you do that, don't be nervous. So there you go. She's got some really light color going on there. And then this is the part that fixes everything. G00. We're going to hold it upright and we're going to go around the eye. Just a little bit until we start seeing that color change. And then you're going to stop. You're going to move to the next one. There's not enough color all the way around on this one, so I'm only doing like a half moon until I see the color change. And then I'm going to wait and let the ink finish doing what it wants to do, because it will do half the job for you. So there's his. I'm going to do the other one. And then I'll show you up close what this does. And it's okay if you bleach it a little bit too far with this marker, because you can always go back and add a little bit more color, which we are definitely going to do. But this will lighten the eyes. So here we go. This is what they look like now. So they're starting to build in that really pretty, like, real eye design there. This one lost a little bit of its darkness, so I go back in with the second color, which is BG75, not the darkest one, but the second one, and go over the same lines that I had put in with the darkest color. This makes them not too dark, so they don't stand out too much, but definitely dark enough that you can see them. And I am literally barely touching the paper. And we're going to do this to both of them, only on the ones that kind of washed out a bit, so not even all of them. Now I'm going to do the white part of the eye after I do the baby's eyes. So this is where I'm at, and this is what I like. I'm right here. I'm going to leave them alone for a little bit, let them dry. We're going to do the baby's eyes, and then we'll come in and I'll show you with the white gel pen how it changes. But you have to let it dry, because the white gel pen will pick up the color that you made the eyes, and it won't be bright white. And we don't want that, so we're not going to do that. Since his eyes are so tiny, you need to get a lighter touch. Yours would look like a bad disaster with mascara. Yes, it takes practice, but if you had this stamp set or one similar to this, you could stamp it over and over just this area and practice those eyes over and over again until you feel more comfortable. It does take a bit of practice. So when I do the babies, since they're so tiny, I'm going to start with the BG75, and I'm just going to put a little bit at the top and a little bit at the bottom of this color. And I'm not even going to put those line striation thingies in it because it's just too small. Then I'm going to use BG72, which will make it, which is lighter, which will make his eyes a bit lighter. If they get a little bit too dark, then I will lighten them up with the G00, but I don't think we're going to have that problem. So now we have the little baby's eyes, who are also similar to mom and dad, but a little bit lighter. I mean, he is a tiny baby, so it's okay. Okay, mom has had time, and dad, for the eyes to dry. So now we go in with the white gel pen, and we just put it over where the artist put the white areas, and then one more little reflection at the edge of the black part of the eye. And that just shows the little reflective areas. Let's do this little guy too, because you need to be able to see his eyes. So now, if you look at them up close, they look like beautiful little eyes. And when we get the rest of the coloring in, they're going to look even better. But right now, that's what we have. Hi, Corrine. Okay. So fairly simple. We have skin and eyes. Those are the two challenging parts. The third challenging part that people have the most trouble with is hair. So we will do hair next. I know, isn't it just looking at it like that, isn't it just beautiful? It's so soft and pretty. I just love it. So for hair, we're going to use a combination of a couple colors. We're going to make them all a variation of brown, but not all the same, but we're going to use somewhat of the same markers. So we're going to use E49, E29, E25, E23, and then we're going to pull that skin tone E21, and we're going to use that in the hair. So each one, like every one of them, we won't use all these colors, but we're going to use a combination of these colors for each one of their hair. So their hair will be similar, but different, even though we use the same 5 markers. So here we go. We're going to make his the darkest. So E49, we're going to start with E49, and that's where we're going to put our darkest part, which is up underneath this, you know, his cape or whatever they call that. I don't know, shawl or cape or I don't know. Anywho, I'm going to put a few extra little strands of hair from the top so that it starts to really stand out. And then I'm going to do over here and a few of them up from the bottom part of his face, just to keep that shadow under there. Not a whole bunch, but just a little. Notice that my brush strokes are very, very tiny. So you have to hold the marker upright to get tiny, tiny brush strokes. And this takes a lot of practice. So my suggestion, while you're practicing your images, just sit around with a piece of paper and do this. See how tiny those are? The more you hold your marker down, the thicker they are. The more high you hold your marker, you get those very tiny lines. So you just have to practice this over and over until you get the exact motion to be able to make those really tiny brush strokes. Everyone can do them, even though it feels like you can't. You can get there. There's some hair underneath here, and I want to keep that fairly dark, so I'm going to build that line, and then I might only touch that with one more color. I did notice that I missed a little spot on his ear over here. So I'm going to grab my E11 and go back in and finish that because it looks like I forgot to finish his ear. There we go. Don't be surprised. Even all of us seasoned colorists still miss spots. Now I usually catch them in the middle of the image, but I have been known to discover that I missed an entire spot after I've already took a picture and said, hey, look at my colored image, and then oh no, there's a big spot not colored, and it happens. So don't be hard on yourself. E29 is next, and I'm going to do more brush strokes in the same direction, but definitely not over top of where I put the last ones. I want to put these in between so you can still see the darker ones and the lighter ones. And then I'm going to do the same thing from the top, just building these in. This is going to make it look like strands of hair versus just one solid color. This is how you get it to look more like strands of hair. So just practicing those, you can already see it starting to build in that real hair color. The hair that's under here, it's just going to get this last color. It's going to remain extremely dark. So it doesn't need, it's very much in shadow. It doesn't need any highlight. Just the front needs highlight. So now we're going to switch to E25. And this is where this is the last color I'm going to use on the hair. So I'm going to touch very lightly in the areas where there's white only. I am not going to blend these colors together. I just want to leave that highlight look to it. So I'm barely touching the paper. I mean, pressure like half, not even a 1. I mean, just barely touching the paper to get that colored in. And then it keeps that look, that strands of hair look in his hair. I mean, doesn't that look so real? And it even makes his eyes look better. So he had the 3 darkest colors. Now for her, I'm going to start hers with E29. I'm going to leave E49 out. So I want hers to be lighter than his was. So E29, holding my marker up very high, I'm going to start building in the same thing. These very tiny strands of hair. Staying in the direction that the artist gave you for the strands of hair. So kind of following the exact pattern that they gave you to begin with. And yes, that's strange for me to say the artist when I drew them, but I say that because I don't want to say 500 times I drew these, because I don't need it to sound like I'm, you know, trying to toot that horn or something. So I am going to follow the direction of the hair. So notice how I did that one kind of curved. This one will curve up. This one kind of starts to curve around, because you want to stay with the motion of the hair. Okay, now she has very long hair, so this is the piece that came in front, and since all of this right here is hair, I'm going to make this part hair as well. It could be hair in yours if you wanted, or it could be part of the robe. I drew it as part of the hair, but you can do it either way. It won't look bad. It won't look bad. I tried it either way. It should be good. So again, following the pattern of the hair, and same thing over here. So practicing an image like this will give you real good practice on those tiny brush strokes. Yeah, you think I'm funny? I try. I mean, you want some entertainment, right? You don't just want to hear me go, I'm going to do this and that. We need some humor going on here. E25 is next, and those brush strokes go in between where we put the other ones. There'll be some white left over, so don't worry about that. You definitely need to leave some white, following the direction of the hair. And then same thing down here. I'm only using 3 colors, so this is technically the round the outside color as well. So that's why it's getting a little bit more of that color in these larger spots. But you could definitely use more colors if you wanted. I'm trying to make this more simple for those who have this image, just so that they won't feel overwhelmed by coloring such a large image. It's simpler than it looks, and you don't have to use a whole bunch of color blends. Just a simple 2 or 3 for each one. A couple of things we do will only use 2. Each one of these hair, just 3. So just trying to make it more simple. So E23 is our next color, and that's the one where we're going to touch it with just a little teeny bit of pressure. It will keep this hair a lighter blonde-ish brown, which is the color I was going for. A little bit lighter than his. His is more of a darker brown. Hers, more of a light brown. Kind of like a sandy blonde hair. You catch what I said there? Yeah, I was being funny again. Okay, so our little baby, we're going to step down. We'll start our baby's hair with E25. So if you noticed, I started with the darkest color and I did those three. And then with hers, I started with this one and did those three. Now we're going to do 25, 23, and 21 for the baby. So we had 5 colors. We used it for 3 sets of hair. So we're going to do the same thing with him. Just going to start his little strands of hair. It's a very small area, so, you know, as long as you get some color in there, that's really all that matters. It doesn't have to be very, very specific exactly where you colored. But this back part underneath side will stay fairly dark. Then we're going to go to E23, and we're going to put some more strands of hair starting from the top and working our way down. Also around the outside, just so that we get some color going on in there. This bottom part will finish out. And then we're going to come in with our last color and finish it up. This gives them all a shade of brown, some darker, some lighter. So this is E21. And again, that light touch. And because it's such a tiny spot, I'm not going back and forth. I'm just going one way. It's just such a tiny area. Okay, so here it comes up close. You guys ready? So, dark, midtone, light. 3 different ways to color with the same 5 markers. So there we go. We did the hardest parts first. And they're out of the way. So eyes, skin, and hair are the ones that I hear the most people say I struggle with. So that is why we started with those. And now we're going to go to doing the rest of the stuff. So already they look so sweet and they're not even colored in yet. Okay, so for her, I decided to use a reddish pink color because this is going to be a Christmas card. So I wanted to have some red in there, but I didn't want it to be dark red. So I chose R37, RV34, R83, and RV32. So this is almost going to be like a mauve pink sort of outfit that she's going to have going on. But she has these little stones in there and some outline, and it looks like this little dress is over top of her shirt, so she's trying to stay warm. So I've decided to put a little bit of gold in there for that, or maybe a yellowish gold. You're not a huge fan of nativity scene stamps, but this one is so cute and sweet. I know. I had a lot of people say they would love to have a nativity scene, but I wanted it to be way different than all the other scenes. So my baby Jesus is not sleeping. He's wide awake and happy. And they just look like a cute little happy family. I love it. Okay, I'm going to use this other marker stand because I want to bring out my my goldish yellow colors. So I have YR23, Y26, and Y32. I was going to start with the pink, but I think I want, because these areas are so tiny, I think I want to start with the yellowish gold color first. So her accents, I'm just going to put like a dot at the top of each one of these little areas right here. I almost see them as stones, kind of. So, but I colored all the other ones like turquoise, so I wanted to change it up a bit. And since we're doing those, I feel like she needs a little bit more of that color in her outfit. So we're going to make this centerpiece on her dress and the collar in this color as well. And then she has a dress, but a shirt underneath. So I'm going to make the shirt that's underneath in this color as well. just to give it a little bit of variation. You can do it all the same color, but that's entirely up to you. I also like this little strip that's around the bottom. I want to make that this color as well. I also like there to be some of the yellowish gold in his as well. So let's go ahead and put that in right now since we already have the marker out. So we're just going to give him a little bit, not a whole lot. Maybe just that line right there. I was going to put some down here, but I think I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave it just like that. I just want that one line to be that yellowish color. Okay, Y26, this one's going to tone it down a bit, and then our Y32 will bring it back up to a bright yellow. So we're going to extend that down. This is the one that makes it look a little more gold than yellow, because it kind of tones down that color. So I'm touching each one of these centers, but just a little bit. I don't want to put too much color in there. And I am going over top of the color that I already used, because this is such a different tone that I want to blend it kind of together a little bit better. So we're just working this color. We're only going to use 3 colors on this one as well. So we're almost done. This is the other side. I think the little bit in his outfit makes it look even better. I mean, that way they match. Not that they have to be matchy-matchy, but Y32 is next. And I'm just going to blend those 2 colors together. This one is light enough that it leaves that highlight really well. And I like it. I'm still doing a very, very light touch, but I'm getting the ink on the paper without washing out my darker colors. This one right here, we want to get a little bit in there. Okay, so for now I'm going to put those aside. We might bring those back out, but for now we're going to set those aside and move on to her color. So I'm going to start off with her dress being in the R37. So this is going to be our shadow area, and it's going to be the darkest part. Now this over here is part of her top. This part is her dress. So I'm going to hold it upright so I can get those very tiny brush strokes. Using the artist drawn lines, I'm kind of keeping that same pattern. And then down here, her dress kind of opens up. It's folded here, and then it opens up to this center part. And normally, the inside part of that is much darker than the rest. So I'm going to put a lot of color within there. And then over here, since it curves around her body, I'm going to put some shadow along there. And then this part that's covered by the bed, and then maybe just a teeny bit over here. And that'll get us good for the bottom part of her dress. And then we want to bring up the top. It looks very bright right now and almost like, eek, what did she do with this color? But it's going to lighten up a lot with the next colors I have. So again, trust the process, relax, it'll be okay. So next we have RV34. This is going to change the color quite a bit. So extending out from where we put that last color, we only have 3 colors, so the next one will be around the outside. This one is just extending our brush strokes a little bit further. It's significantly lighter, so it's definitely lightening up that red to a pink. I always have a red. I always save reds for last. I usually do too, but in this case, I knew it was going to be more of a pink. So I wasn't really... Reds scare me only when I'm doing them up against a very light color, because if you were to do the yellow after you do the red, you could potentially pick up the red and drag it across your image. And I've done that way too many times that I want to count. I don't want to count them. So I tend to save it for later. But in this case, I knew this was going to be a much lighter pink-ish color, so I felt a little more comfortable doing it now. But I do tend to save reds as well for last. Reds or blacks. Sometimes if it's really dark black, I will save that as well, just for those same reasons. Now, if it's red and black, well, then it's a, you know, crapshoot. You just hope you don't drag one into the other. It's just a good luck moment. Good luck, don't mess it up. Okay, next we have our 83. How you like that, Danny? That was funny, wasn't it? Okay, this is R83, and this is going to be significantly lighter, even moving lighter than the last colors. So each one's getting lighter and lighter, like a lot lighter than the original dark color. And I'm kind of going around those little pieces right there in the bed. I'm not going to call them by name just yet on what they are. And we're just going to leave a small area of white in here for our last color. It's going to be our highlight color. It's pretty light, but very similar to this particular color that we're using, so it shouldn't be a big difference. And we'll get to what that is in a few minutes. RV32 is the last color. I'm going to use the side of the marker and do those very light brush strokes to blend this all together. This is a little bit of a peachy mauve, so it kind of keeps that color from being too bright, like how it looks. But this is a very, very light touch again, just barely adding that color in there. This area right here is really small. I don't want to go over my little yellow spots, so I am holding the marker upright so I don't color over those yellow spots. There we go. And now we have a very nice soft pink outfit. Now I'm going to let you guys help me decide if I want to make her headdress the same color as his, or if I want to make it the same color as her dress. I haven't decided, so we're going to move on, and I'll just hold those colors for a little bit later, and we'll go ahead and do his outfit. And then we can judge whether it's going to be too much or not enough if we use the same colors. So G99, then YG97, YG95, and YG93. And those are all greens, but in olive green, which I thought would go really well with the light color here. And we're going to start with his outfit here. So I'm going to actually color all the pieces in these colors, but these with the dots in them, the accent pieces, I won't be using the darkest color on those. So that's why you'll notice that I'll be putting it everywhere else, but I won't be touching those areas right now. So what I want to do is put a bit of shadow up underneath where his cape goes over his shirt, then right here where the little baby is shadowing him, a little bit down this side, and then this part should match his cape. So I'm not doing that part yet either. He's got a little bit of a fold on his arm there. These areas underneath will probably be pretty dark. And then this is the underside opening of his sleeve. So I'm just going to color that all in dark. And then he's holding that headdress in his hand. So all of that is going to be whatever color we make the headdress. So now I'm going to make this part of his outfit. And it's folded over in pleat areas. So we're going to keep that darkness in those areas. So right here, I want this to remain pretty dark because it's a fold in the outfit. And then there's that strip we're not going to do. And then this underside piece right here. And then this is part of his outfit as well. And here's another one. So I know you guys probably wonder how we do when the artist is drawing something like this. You're like, how do you know that dress goes like down this far or right here? Well, you draw it in sections and layer it, just like we do when we mask. You can do the same thing when you're drawing. So you draw each piece and then you can layer them on top of each other so that you can see where everything would be appropriate, not just guessing, oh yeah, maybe that would be there. And then these are the pants that are underneath this cover outfit. So I want to make them the same color. So we're just going to get those colored in a little bit as well. And we haven't touched their shoes yet because I want to make their shoes close to the same color as their headdress. So we're not doing the shoes yet. And then here is YG97. This one is going to go more into an olive color. I'm just going to brush stroke down from where I put that darkest color. And then up from where I put it here. And then I'm just going to do the in-between lines so they stand out just a little bit more. This part. That was a little bit hard to do from the side, but we did it. Making these go down a little bit further. Some in between. This one over here, I think all of this is so far in shadow, it doesn't need the lighter colors. This part's really in shadow too. This part over here could get a little bit more light. These are the pants. So this part over here would be more shadowed. So we got that going on. I know you've probably said before, I don't remember what paper do you use to color on. So this paper that I'm using right now is, oh my gosh, give me a second. My brain is Hammer Mill. This is the Hammer Mill coloring paper. And I can show you the package here in just a few minutes. I know that I have one. So this is second to the last color, so it's going to get the around the outside and a little bit more, leaving just really light white area. I really like this Hammer Mill paper. It does really good. I haven't had any problems. I've been testing it. I've used almost a ream of it, and I don't have any complaints. I really, really like it. I'm surprised. Can you tell? I had heard from some other people that it wasn't like it wasn't good for your markers or whatever, and so I decided to test it, and I haven't had any problems with it. It doesn't clog up the nibs or anything like that. It works fabulously, and it's priced great. So, yay on that. Okay, so this is the second to the last color. So this is where I'm going to add a little bit inside this area because I want this area to remain just a bit lighter. So I'm just going to put a little bit in now, and then we'll just finish that area with the lightest color that we're using next. There we go. You're welcome. You love Hammermill too, Meg? Me too. I just really like it. I mean, I'd like to tell you that, you know, ooh, I love this other kind of paper, but this is just my favorite. Right now, this is the winner for me. So you can see it's much lighter with this. So we're blending out the areas where we left a little bit of highlight, and we're also coloring in the areas where we have the dots. Sorry, I lost my train of thought there for one single second. Now I also think that there's a little fold on the pants down here, and I want that to be the darkest color, which is why I didn't color that in yet. So I'm just going to add just the darkest color on there. I feel like it's layered up. You're not going to be able to see a whole lot there, so we're just going to do that. I have other papers. I have tested a few other papers. If you want me to test a certain kind of paper, I can certainly do that. All you have to do is ask. So what do you guys think? So, one, we would do their pieces, their headdress pieces in the same color, which would be like somewhat of a taupe color. Both of them the same. Or should I make their headdresses the same as their outfits? That would be number 2. So 1, you want them to be this color, or 2, you want them to be the color of the outfit. So I'll wait for you guys to respond, and the first 2 or 3 people that do, I will color it that color. In the meantime, you've tried a ton throughout the years, just always curious to hear what kind of paper everyone else uses. So both the same. Okay, great. 2 answers, both the same. That makes it easy. We're going to make them all the taupe-ish color. I've done Express It, Cryogen, Sweet Sentiment. What are the other ones? I've tried the one that you get at Michael's. I've tried the Copic coloring paper that the comic book people use. What else? I've tried cardstock and Whisper White from Stampin' Up! And Nina. So I've tried a bunch of papers. Express It was my favorite for a while. And then there was glittery, shimmery paper that I liked. And then you've tried all those as well? Yep. And then I came to Hammermill and I was like, wow. This was suggested, was actually given to me by a friend that said, hey, try this. And I was like, okay. Why not? So I love it. I still have Nina and Express It at my house. So I'm going to start with E44. Then we're going to go to E43, E42, and then we're going to switch it up and put E51. It will make it look a little bit brighter. So we're going to start with the areas where it's folded, and that needs to have a deeper color to it. So I am following the artist lines on this part for sure. Just making this darker. And I will go all the way around, but for right now, I'm going to start with just these smaller areas that I want that really dark color in. I don't want to make this whole headdress really dark, so I'm just doing the darkest areas first, the parts I want to really remain kind of dark. So just in the folded areas for the most part. And anything that's shadowed by her or her dress or, you know, anything of that such nature. This is folded over, so it's going to need to have some dark there. And then this part is definitely behind. There's a little bit here that should have some. And then this is all folded over. So I need the corner, and then I need the underside of this. We'll have more dark. And then this part right here is also folded over. So this part is going to have some dark color as well. So the lower it gets, the darker it gets. Up here will be lighter. And now I'm going to go over to his. So all of this area that's up close by his face, it's going to be pretty dark because it's all shadowed in there. And then we'll come up here and we'll add a bit here. This folded part right here. We'll have a little bit of this brown in there. And then coming up this area right here. And then his is folded over right here. So I feel like that needs to have some depth right there. So I'm going to go ahead and just go straight across that. There's a teeny bit here and a little bit here. And then we're going to work on this. This part over here. This is the underside, so it's going to have a little bit more. And then this part in his hand, we need to have some deeper color there. Right here where it's folded over. Right here where it's folded over. And then this underside right here would have some as well. This is all underneath his little shirt. And then this area down here is where it's folded as well. So it's going to have some dark on the folds. There we go. And then the belt is the same way. It's like the same material. So I'm just going to start going over where the artist lines are, just because that would be my darkest area. And while we're at it, we might as well do the baby as well. So I'm going to make his headdress a little bit lighter, but I definitely want to make his bedding about the same color as their headdress. So I'm going to start working on that. Putting in the lines and then going around these areas right here. I need to keep some deep color in there. So these parts right here that I'm going around right now might be a question. So I left them looking somewhat like leaves. If you wanted to make them leaves, I'll hold it up closer so you can see. So they kind of look a little bit like leaves, but also like you could color them like hay if you wanted them to be hay. So it's kind of up to you. Whatever you feel at the moment. I've colored them with a hay color, and I've also colored them as leaves. So you can choose whichever way you want. Tonight we're going to color them as leaves, but I have colored them both ways. So you can see them in the group, our group, or in Pajama Crafter group. You can see them in both places. Okay, so now we're going to switch to the next color, which is E43. These are the bigger parts, so we're starting to get there. This outside part will be really fast. It doesn't need a lot of detail on it. So I'm going to start doing my brush strokes out now from this color. Not going to go around the entire outside, but I do want to start building that in. Because again, I don't want it to be really dark, but I do want to get some color in there. A little bit around her face because that would be a little bit shadowed from her hair. I like making this area very light, this part very light. I'm back. Oh, good. He's doing amazing. That's great, Mom. I'm glad to hear that. So those of you who don't know, my uncle was in the hospital. I posted on my personal page for prayers, and they worked. He's doing wonderful, but it was very scary for just a little while. And it's my mom's brother. So we are thankful. Okay, so that's about all I want to put in of this color on her headdress for right now. And then we're going to work on his. Again, I want to keep his very light too. I want them to be very similar, the two. But I need to have a little bit in his, a little bit more in his. So I'm just softening this harsh line I put in here. And then starting to build out from where I put the last color. This is a good image to practice on. I think I already said that, but just in case I didn't. This is a really good one for that. I'm going to soften up this line as well. And then I'm going to stop with that part. I'm going to go down here and start working in a little bit of color there. A little bit of that would have his chin over it, so, and this is the underside, so I'm okay making that darker. I'm going to just do a little bit more of blending out of this color. I want to keep some of this fairly light just because he's holding it out, and so it should be lighter, but this part that's underneath should be a bit darker. And then the baby stuff, we're just going to extend out from where we put that last color. And we kind of put a lot of it because I want to keep the bedding a little bit darker than their covers. So I added a bit more of the really dark color on this one. And I don't even know if I'm even going to use the E51 for this particular part right here, because I want to keep that very brownish, or taupe, if you will. So that's a lot lighter since Susie's address, because that's where he's staying. Oh, that's great. That's great. Okay, and then for his, we're going to start with his headdress with this color is the second darkest color. So just the underside piece for now. And maybe a couple of the folds, but not very much of this color at all. Just a teeny bit. I want his to be significantly lighter than the rest. So there we go, just a little bit. Yes, we did. We almost lost him. E42 is next. So this one we're going to build out just a little bit more, leaving just small white areas in these underside pieces around the outside with this one. It's very light. It's very taupe. It's sort of the color you want it to be, but then we're going to add that, you know, shift everything to a different shadow color, but you'll see how pretty it looks together. So around the outside, any undersides, this would be the last color for that. All the way around the headdress, kind of start building in that color. And then we'll just leave the rest for the last color. Same thing for him. starting to fill that in, soften up the colors around the outside. Now we'll go around the inside of that part, extending these out. This part we can do just slightly faster because I already know what I want to do with it, and it's just filling it in. Plus we have a lot less space now that we've put this color in there. Wherever we want the biggest highlight to be, that's what we're going to leave open. Got to do around the outside on that one. The outside of this one and the inner one. And then this stuff will remain darker. So we filled in a bit more of that. Same with down here. And then these parts will be lighter because they're standing outside. This part is the one that we're going to finish off with this color. So I'm going to do a little bit of back and forth. A little bit heavier pressure, like maybe a 3, so that more ink blends that together and it thickens it up. And that looks very nice. Now we're going to work a little bit more on his little headdress. So we're going to start extending out, and we're going to go around the outside on this headdress just to start building it in. We want to keep it really light, so it's only going to be this color and the next color. So you can see how I used the same colors over and over, but got different results. With the hair, with these light brown taupe type images, same colors, different result. So now I'm going to start using this 51. Very light, just put it over top. And what it's doing is it's adding more of that like natural color to blend this together. You'll be able to see it more on this top headdress than you can below because we had so much more in the below color of the brown. But because this is a different tone, you actually have to touch even those dark spaces below so that they don't look like you used entirely different markers on them. So here we go. Just a very light coat. And I'll hold it up so you can see it in just a minute. It definitely changes it up a bit, but notice how I definitely still go over the other colors. I'm not going to go over that part, but I am going to go over his headdress. There we go. So I will show you up close what that looks like. See, all the same colors, but different. Different here, different there. It's just playing with the colors to get the same colors, different result. That's the fun part. Same colors, different result. Okay, so this part, we're going to do the same color as this part. So I'm going to go ahead and do the leaves next and get those out of the way, and then we will do all the rest of the brown, and then we'll be ready to move on. So, thank you. I'm so glad you guys like it. I do like that. I'm glad we went with that lighter color. Good call, you guys. So, 2 colors for the leaves, YG67 and G24. So, what I'm going to do, these are such small areas. Do not try to focus on touching every one of these teeny tiny lines and doing all of this little work in there. I'm telling you, no one's going to notice that. So I'm going to show you the quick and easy way to do this. Just doing more like a stippling of this dark color, just in the areas that look like they're the inside pieces. It's going to look like I sat there and like specifically colored all of those little spots, but I did not. So I just want to show you how you can do this much simpler, where it looks like you spent all this time doing it when you really did not. I mean, you can if you'd like, But who wants to do that? We got more fun stuff to do. We don't want to sit around playing with one little leaf forever. So we're just putting in a bit of this color, and you can do this with flowers as well. Your stuff does not always have to be touching every petal. So we're just adding in a bit of that dark. And then there are some down here, which I will spend a little bit more time on just because they are larger pieces. Now, when I hold this up, you'll be able to see how I just randomly put that in there, but it kind of looks like exactly what I wanted it to do. Then you take G24, which is the lighter color, and we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to touch all the white spots left with this G24. It's enough of a variation that if you don't sit on the paper very long, it will stay significantly lighter, and it will give that exact impression that you sat and focused on every one of these little leaves on purpose. And people are going to say, oh my gosh, am I going to sit there and color all that stuff? That would take forever. Look, we did that faster than anything else. Super fast. All done. Well, look at how easy that was. Looks like you spent a long time doing it, and we didn't. I think he needs to be in blue. I didn't pull any blue colors. Work smarter, not harder. Exactly. Well, maybe we can make his outfit in the blue colors. We did his eyes. That's what we're going to do. The ones we did their eyes in so that it, yeah, that's what we're going to do. Let's do that. So I'm just going to do two colors. I'm going to do BG 75 and 72 for his outfit. I want it to remain pretty light, so I'm going to do the collar with the 75, and then I'm just going to do the very small folded areas. That's his other little hand, which I forgot to color. So we'll come back and fix that in just a minute. So just some tiny areas with some of that deep color, and the rest is all going to be in the 72. But I am going to call, just in case you're wondering what I'm doing, I am going to pull out the E11 and just do his little hand right here that I missed when we started. There we go. Their eyes are captivating. You like them? I like them too. They're way easier than they look. I mean, you saw, I showed in the beginning of the video exactly how to do them, and it was fairly easy. This is the same colors we used for the eyes, but now it's his little outfit. And it's perfect. It brings your eyes right into the center of the project, which is exactly what you want to do. Now, the only thing we didn't do were the shoes, and we really got to get the shoes done. So I am going to take E49 to do the soles. And usually I do the soles with a black, but in this case, since there's so much brown in the image, I want to go ahead and use that one. And then, as I said earlier, I want the shoes to be light, like the headdress. So we're going to use the same colors as well. That's cool, Dale. So Dale's working on his costume, you guys, trying to get ready for the next show. Here's my colors. I was wondering what I did with them. Now the shoes, I'm going to use the same colors, but I'm going to make the shoes darker. And I'm not going to use the E51. I'm only going to use the 44, 43, and 40 E42. So this is the 44. Just going to put a bit around the shadow areas. So this is repeating colors in different areas so that we don't have to use, you know, all the 358 markers. E43 is next. So I'm just going to blend out where I put that last color. and just leave a small area for the highlight. There we go. They blend in. I don't want them to stand out anyway, so I like that color. This is the E42. I'm just going to make sure I got a good blend on that. Same thing over here. There. All done. Shoes are done. Now we have to work on the wood. So the wood shouldn't be too hard. I think I have decided to pull in E39, 37, and E35. I could have used the hair colors though if I didn't want to pull that in. So maybe let's do that. Let's take these and put them away. And let's go ahead and use the hair colors. That way we can stick with those same reuse those same colors. So we have E49, E29, E25, E23, and E21. And we'll use those same colors but different shades. So we're going to work on that. And this dark outside area is what's really going to make these look really pretty. So here we go. The E49, you don't want a whole lot of that. But these little pieces right here that are holding the whole thing together, I'm just going to make those E49. And then this little piece up here at the top that's holding this part together, I want to have a lot of the E49 in that. And then in between where these attach, I want to have some depth in there as well. So I'm just going to build a little bit of this in those areas. So along the bottom, hold your breath when you do that. Make sure you don't sneeze or anything because you might mess it up. Just kidding. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. Okay, and then I'm going to put a little bit underneath where I put all these little leaves, and I'm not going to do it real specific. I'm just going to tap a little bit of that color in there so it looks like there's some shadow underneath all of these little leaves. Not going to spend a lot of time on it. I just want people to notice that there's some depth in there. And then where the roof overlaps here, we're going to just put some little strokes down this area. And I will build in some extra ones. I like the ones that I put in there originally, but I'm going to add a few more. Also from the bottom, because it would be dark where it touches the ground, it would be dark where this shadows it. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I promise this part is going to go way faster than any of the other parts we have done, except maybe the leaves. They were pretty fast too. Okay, so we want to get this color in there, but just not too much of it because it is such a dark color. So because we put that at the top, I just wanted a little bit up there. And then a little bit down here where these are overlapping, because it would be a little bit darker on the overlapping part. So we definitely got to get some in there. Even though I don't want to put a whole lot, I just want to have a bit of it in there. Maybe one more, and then I'll be good. All right, so that's the darkest E49. That builds in just a bit of the darker colors. Now E29 will still be dark, so this is the one that I'll do a bit more with, like my shadow areas. This one also has a bit more red in it than the E49 does, so it kind of gives it a little bit different color. So I'm just doing some very light brush strokes, adding some lines a little bit more so it'll look a little more like wood. You can do that or not. It's entirely up to you whether you want to do that or not. But this is starting to build it in. Doing this side, same thing. Now, when I do wood like this, I try not to take too much time thinking about where I want to put those lines. I just kind of put them. The more I think about them, the harder it is and the more unrealistic it looks for me. So I try not to think about it too much. I just stick them in there and move on. It's easy, fast. Now this part up here, I'm going to start following these out just a little bit because I put the darkest color. I need a bit of the lighter color. And I'm going to go, just like I do with hair, I'm going to go in the direction of the rooftop. And I'm just going to put a few in here, like extending these out. And honestly, these don't really make a whole lot of sense. I'm just putting them in there. And I promise it's going to look amazing when we're done. I'm going to keep this underside pretty dark only because we're oxiding. And I want to make sure that I have a really thick line under there, just in case I didn't cut my mask very well. So we'll find out about that very soon. I'm a little bit worried about the mask for the roof because the roof is not really closed off necessarily, which I like because it gives you so much variation of what you could do with it. But for masking, it's not the easiest. I missed that part over there. I think I have a little bit more on this side, so I'm gonna build in just a bit more over here because I feel like I'm top heavy on one side. That's better. Oh, we gotta do the star too. Okay, now we have E25. This is the mid-tone color. So this is the one I'm gonna do more of the around the outside, and it's gonna get a lot more fill in of this color. You can go right over top of those very dark E49, I don't know, nails or whatever you want to call them, holding it together. I'm not sure how much of the E21 I will even do on this, but I will put a little bit of it. So I'm starting to extend out these. Again, I feel like this part goes pretty fast because it doesn't have to be real specific. Just as long as you get some color in there, it should look great when you're done. Doesn't have to be real defined or real specific. See, it's just starting to come together just easily because you put those lines in there and you can do it randomly. You don't even have to think about it much. Don't concentrate. Don't worry. Just stick some color in there. It'll work, I promise. These are not the lines that I would focus most on. Just want to get them in there, some light, some dark, so just back and forth until you get in enough of that color that you're happy with it. You have to go to bed now. You will check and see the finished card. Yay! I figured, I know it's a little, this one was going to be a little long and a little late, but those that like to hang out with me late at night would stick around. The rest can catch it on YouTube on the replay. E23 is next. And this one, I'm just going to leave a little bit of white for a really bright highlight, but most of it is going to be colored with this color. All the underneath, and then the underside up here. And I'm going to leave some of these areas right here for the last color and a little bit in here. Just so we can get a little bit more variation. But for the most part, we're almost done with that. And then I realized I didn't do the little manger at all. So we have to jump back in and finish that off. And it's okay if it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be. Good night. Okay, so E21 will finish up this outside part. I'm gonna finish it in all the areas that I feel like need just a little bit more. I'm gonna go over them. The parts that aren't finished yet, or the parts that are white still, we're going to go over them with this color. It just kind of blends them all together. I really like how it looks. So I'm just going over those colors. And then like these areas right here that were white, we just want to get that colored in. And then a sweep over top of this side. And done. Not too much of that color. Now, I already did the E49 down here, so I really just need to do the 29. And I want this one to stay a little bit lighter, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this 29 in there. That's a personal preference. You can do yours in whatever color you want. But I'm just putting small amounts of this one. And then we'll move to E25. So, oops. So this one, I'm going to start building out from where I put that E29 so that I can start blending that a little bit. All up under here. In some spots, I'm going to extend out into the area, the middle area, and then the rest I'm going to leave for the last colors. We have E23 and E21 left. There won't be a lot of 23, but there'll be a lot of 21. A lot more of 21 this time. So E23 is this one right here. I will do a little bit more of this inside area right here, under here, come up from this side, and then a little bit more on this really far down part. We probably don't need the light color on there. And then the remaining will be E21, and then we will be ready to roll on to the star, which will only take like a couple of seconds to do. This kind of gives you another idea of what the brown would look like if you used the lighter color a little bit more than the darker colors. So while it looks very similar to that, just slightly different. Okay. Woohoo! Now we're going to go with these same yellow colors that we did her outfit, and we're going to do this star. So I am going to do something a little bit strange. I'm going to start with this YR23, like right in the center where each one of these folds in. And then I'm going to do a little bit in the top of each one, the tip, with this very same color. So a little bit hard to see that, I think, on camera, but there you go. Then I'm going to use the 26 to start coming down each one of these. Starting to blend these colors together. This is a very tiny piece, so you don't really need to focus a whole lot on being real specific. You just want to get a bit of color in there. And Y32 is the last color. This is the one that we're going to blend out with. So I'm just going to go across each area just to mix those together. So now we ended up with something that looks like this. I will probably be putting some sparkly stuff over that before we're done, but that's where we are. Okay, so now it's time to start blending the outside. So I am going to have to put the mask on there. The rest of this part goes fairly quickly because it is oxide blending. Well, the longest part's going to be trying to get this backing off. It might come off faster than I think, or it might take a little bit. Hey, come on. I see you. There we go. I think I got a hold of it now. Perfect. So it comes off as one, oh, well, it's supposed to come off as one piece, but I guess the split was right there, the top of their heads. Okay, there we go. It's all one piece. I'm going to put it right over top. It didn't stamp very well because this is kind of a glossy paper, if you will. So it doesn't stamp perfectly. It gets all smeary, but it's okay. Just want to make sure, more than anything, that the people are within where they're supposed to be. That's my important part. And that everything is covered up. All the coloring is covered up. And everything looks nice. So it looks like I did pretty good on that cover up. I'm pretty happy with that. And then just to be all that creative, I cut out the star as well. I'm going to use my tweezers to peel off the back on this one though, because it's not going to be as easy as the other one. So as you watch me struggle, there we go. Not too bad. Come on. Come off of there. All right. So now I'm going to put this star on top of the star. And really, I just need it to cover the yellow. So once I have it on there, I'm going to flip it over and I'm just going to rub it to make sure that I get, you know, it on there pretty good. And to make the ink blending a little faster, we're going to actually use the dye ink blending solution from Pajama Crafter Stamps because I think it'll be faster. We are only going to use 3 oxide colors. I don't think that I'm going to actually put this on a card because I might actually frame it because I'm kind of liking it. So I'm going to put a little dot of this blending solution on here because I'm going to need that. And then I'm going to start with the yellow. So I'm going to put it on my desk because I don't want to mix the blending solution onto my ink pad. So I'm going to put the blue, and that is Uncharted Mariner. And the yellow is Squeezed Lemonade. And then when I'm ready, I'm going to also use black soot. I just refilled black soot, so it should be extremely juicy, as you can see. So, not sure that's quite right. I need to find a napkin. Hang on one second. I knew that was going to happen with my black soot. I just refilled it, and I think I put too much. So, I'm going to take that off. I'm going to touch my ink pad. And then I'm going to try that one more time. Well, we're going to roll with that. Hopefully it works. Is what it is. Okay, so I have these little brushes. I'm going to use one for each color. I know they look tiny, but I think they're going to work really good. So I put it in the blending solution, and then I put it in the yellow. And I'm just going to lightly touch around the star. And then I also want to put some, like it's shining down on them. Now I will be putting the blue over top of it, but I want to kind of have a little bit more of the yellow and blue mixture. So I'm kind of putting, it's sort of scattered. It looks a little bit funny right now, but I think it's going to blend out very nicely. But we'll see how it goes as I play around with this color. This blending solution helps to blend it more quickly and smoothly. So I like this blending solution a lot. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to the blue. So I'm going to dip it in that blending solution a little bit and then into my blue ink. And now I'm going to start from the other side, starting to build that blue in there, if I can hold on to the brush. And I want to do it all over the people. So I want to start building in that blue color. I'm going to go around the yellow a little bit as well. Now, if the ink blending solution dries on there, it sometimes makes darker areas, so you just have to work with it in the same. But we're going to put some black over it too, so no worries at all. I want all this. I should have grabbed some green. Honey, will you grab me like Mowed Lawn or something so I can put a bit of green at the bottom? I would say that generally speaking, I don't really like blending on hammer mill all that much. I don't think it blends quite as well on hammer mill as it does on all the other types of paper. You get a little bit more splotchy and stuff, but that's what I got for coloring, so it's where we're going. Okay, did you find it? Just give me any green. I just need grass. You can do mowed lawn, you can do forest, you can do whatever you want. I just need a green. Thank you. Mowed lawn. That's what you got. I'm going to stick that one in here. I'm a little bit, I'm not going to lie, I'm a little bit worried about that black right there. But we'll see. I'm a little bit nervous it's going to do something wonky. There's my other sponge. Just going to put me a new sponge on there for my green. And then we're going to put green down here just so we have some green. Don't worry, we're also going to put some black over that because we want this to be very dark, but I need it to have some green in there. It's pretty light green, so I'm not hugely excited about that, but we're going to layer it up one more time just to kind of give it a little bit more dark. Now I'm going to go back to the blue. This is all about playing with mixing it up. I'm going to mix again where the blue and the green meet. I'm also going to do a little bit over the green just to deepen that up a bit. You'll know it's grass, but it's got that blue tint on it, so I kind of like that. I need more blue. So I just keep putting more inks from my ink pads on my desk, and then I'll be able to clean it all up. Nice and smooth. I want the outside, the sky, to be a bit darker, so I am going to go over that one more time. And then we're going to add in some black around the edges to keep it very, very dark. I do want there to be a little bit of that highlight of that yellow, so I haven't done the yellow too dark yet. But I'm going to put a little bit of blue over it before I go back over it with yellow. I just want a little bit of that yellow shine, but not a whole lot. You know what I mean? Like I want it to be bright, but not too bright. I go back with my blue. Right, a little bit darker. So we have a highlight there, but not too much. There we go. It looks like a big old mess, which is okay. Now we get to be scared. Is the black going to blend appropriately? I'm scared, you guys.
I don't think you should use the black with the blending solution.
Oh, I'm not going to use the blending solution. I'm going to use my brush and the ink pad because that scares me. And I just want to put it on the outside, so I'm okay with just going around the outside. Sometimes it's not good to fill your ink pad before you're live, but you know, some of us do it. I needed it. I knew I needed it, so I did it, but I probably shouldn't have. Although it's looking nice. This is supposed to be black soot and it looks like gray. I'm not gonna lie, it looks like gray to me. I want a little bit around the edges, but not too much. I think when we get done, it's gonna look real pretty. But I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm just putting some black around the bottom. I want it to remain more of that green, but we need to have some of that dark in there. Now I'm not gonna put any more black on my brush, but I am gonna kind of brush in some dark in the blue as well. Kind of like it like that. Sort of smoky, spooky. Where is that napkin? I need to wipe this up because this is not gonna go well right here. So note to self, don't fill your ink pad before you're live. All right, let's go back with the blue a little bit, if I can find it. I think we need a little bit more blue, so we're gonna go in with the blue again, the blue and the black together. Just give us a little bit more blue and black combination. I kind of like this. And we're gonna spray it too, I think, with water or sparkly stuff, because be cool. It keeps falling off. My blue keeps falling off. Maybe it's trying to say, that's enough. You never know. I think I'm good. I need a tad bit more of this green, just to bring that green out a little bit more in a few places. But honestly, when it's nighttime, it's dark. It's just dark everywhere. So we're going to close up the ink pads. Jill, can you please get me a napkin so I can wipe off my desk? And then we're going to reveal. Are you guys ready to reveal? I think we're going to spray this on it tonight. This is Art Anthology Ice. It's going to make it sparkly and shimmery, and I'm excited about that. Thanks. So before we do that, we want to clean off our desk. So I'm just spraying it with water, and then I'm just going to wipe all of this stuff up so we can work on the next step. Ooh, so pretty. I'm going to spray one more time. Here we go. This should be our final wipe up, and we should be good. This is why I love this glass mat. I'm not gonna lie, it's amazing. You do everything on it, and then when you're done, you're done. It works out perfectly. I think it needs a bit of sparkle, and I'm gonna have to do that while the mask is still on there. Otherwise, we'll get it everywhere. So this is my little spray box. It's already got all its little spray stuff on it. I'm going to hold it up just a little bit like this. And I'm going to squirt some of the spray on there. And it will activate the oxide and create a sparkle on my picture. So the sparkle's starting to come to life now. Do you see it sparkling? It's really pretty. Of course, it sits on top of the mask, but don't worry. We'll take care of that in a minute. I'm going to pull out my heat tool. Plug your ears for a minute. I need to dry it so I can take the mask off. so pretty. I'm going to dry the other side as well. There we go. All right, this is going to be one sparkly creation here. I don't know if you can see all that sparkle. It is so pretty. Okay, here we go. You ready for the big reveal? So this is our star. Oh, that worked out really nicely. I'm very happy about that. I'm going to put this mask on my stamp set. And then we're going to peel this one back. Are you guys ready? This is going to be the best part ever. Oh my gosh. Look, sneak peek. Oh my goodness, I did cut this mask very well. I'm very happy. Here we go. It's a little bit weak because it's wet, this mask part. But oh my goodness. That brown pops on that blue. Okay, I see one spot that the mask wasn't perfect, but I know how we can fix that. Oh my goodness, it's so pretty. I'm going to put this mask on the back of the stamp set so I can use it again when it dries. And I'll worry about getting that on there a little bit later. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to take my E25 and I'm just going to fill in these tiny areas right here where I didn't get quite enough color, just so there's no white spots. There we go. Perfect. Now, I know, so pretty, and there's so much sparkle to it. I don't know if you can see that on camera, but it is so pretty. I really like it. Oh my gosh. I can't help myself, you guys. I think I have to put it on a card. I can't help it. I was kind of thinking yellow, but now I'm thinking maybe an off-white instead. Oh my gosh. That is so, I like the yellow. I know it's not really a Christmas color, so to speak, but I like that. And then I think maybe a brown to go with it. Like a darker brown. Like a round brown around this and then yellow. I think, oh, let's see, maybe we just do this. I don't know. Oh my gosh. I love it. There we go. I don't think I'm going to glue it down tonight, only because the paper is still slightly wet from the oxide and the splash. But at least you guys will know, and I will post it in the group when it's dry and I can put the sentiment on it, because I think I'm going to put Merry Christmas down here. But I will be able to show that to you. Pretty sure I will mat it on this, but I just want to wait till it's dry. So it will look something like that when it's done. And I will post it in the group, you guys. What do you think? Doesn't it just jump off the page? It is so pretty. I really like it. Yay! I hope you guys like that. I know it was a long evening. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with me through the duration of that. I know that took a while, but wow. How fun is that? I super love it. I'm super messy. Eek. I love it too. I'm gonna definitely post it in the Fans of Ledoux Designs group here on Facebook as soon as I'm done. How many of you thought that yellow was crazy until now? And then I'll post it in there so you guys can see the final project. But I'll probably let it dry tonight because it feels a little bit wet from all the juicy stuff I put on it. And I will definitely see you guys next week on Tuesday. I'm home for a while, so you guys will see me on Tuesday and Thursday next week. And I've gotten so many new stamps that I can't wait to share with you guys. So definitely tune in. Thanks for hanging out. Good night, you guys.